Hello everyone, PJ Sessions here in the studio on his pajamas. Today I'm gonna do a breakdown on my latest track, which is like a house song with some elements from Fred again, from Peggy Gou, like from this lo-fi house era we're into it. And just to remember everyone, you can pre-save clicking the link in the description. This helps a lot, so let's get started on the breakdown. Alright, so here's the session. As you can see, we have like a lot of stuff. Just a quick rundown. We have like a drums folder. We have some voice. Here's like my synth leads, and also I got some violins on this track. Keys, which is everything like from blocks to piano, from pads. I always put like as keys on my folders. And of course our bass and some sound effects. And this right here is just my mix bus and my mix print, whatever. I just like to see the waveform at the end. Let's gonna start like this breakdown with the drums. For this track, I was really inspired by like Fred again, and I've been listening to him a lot. And one of the elements that I hear on his music, it's a lot of groove. First, this is my favorite kick. I know this is like a long kick, but I like how punchy it is. On processing, I'm just doing like some EQ here. Just removing some of the highs, taming a little bit of the mids here, and also I'm just removing the sub because I don't want it to clash, because I have a sub bass and I don't want them to clash and just go like tangled and be just this massive information that you don't know what you're hearing. I usually do side chaining like the old way. You just stick like a compressor and then you turn on sidechain, and then I just use the signal from my kick. For this track, as I wanted to have this long kick, this punchy kick, it was just too much, so I just copy it over into this track that I call it Kick Ghost. Like, I turned off all the processing in it and just send it to all the sidechains that I'm using in here. 4 on the floor, close hi-hat. Also, just to get a little bit of variation here, I just changed, it's not the pitch, but I do change the sample. Just again, to give a little bit of groove, just, so everything's not static and robotic. Even though it's like electronic music, everything's quantized. You don't want to be like a robot. It's not an AI doing music. Remember that. You put your own spin into it. And I don't know if you guys can see, like, there's a symbol in here. So I'm a drummer, so I do know how like different sounds on your drum part can make a difference. So just as every house track, I brought in some loops. I found those here. It's native on Cubase. I can just open like in here, and you have like loops and samples, and we have like a ton of libraries to choose from. So I brought in like this bottle loop and also this techno loop. Let's hear the bottle one. And for processing, of course, just like remove all the lows. I just tame it a little bit of the mids and just give a little bit of air. Also, reverb. Processing, again, brick wall on the lows because this loop had a kick and I didn't want any low information from it. just removing some frequencies that I don't want here, and I'll taming a little bit of the mids. See, this one here, like the blue one here, is just like some that I just hate when everything do stuff like that. And also I setting it to the reverb like really light, just like -6 dB. And of course we cannot have a house track without spending 3 to 7 days deciding what snare to use. Here using 2 snares from the battery. One is a 707 and another one is just a random one. I wanted like a really rim shot snappy, because I need a punch. I need something to drive the track forward. So I didn't want like a rock metal snare like with like that big rim shot, but I needed to make it snappy. So I just layered down two snares together and worked out perfectly. As for processing, just a little bit of removing the lows, getting up in the mids here, and a little bit of air, and also reverb, because what is a snare without reverb? I got another loop, because here's the thing. There's only 2 things that will make your loop, your drum loop, sound like a real drum. If you're thinking like a drummer, you're always paying attention on dynamics and also on the ghost notes. And ghost notes not only on the snare. So what I usually do, I always like program on my hi-hats, like a lot of close hi-hats, like other dynamics, and some ghost notes just to get like a little bit of groove. For this track, I just wasn't finding the right sample to match with this hi-hat one. So I got it like onto a loop and I just chop it all over. If you can see like the cuts. And for processing, remove all the lows, tame a little bit of the mid and some air, and also a ton of reverb. This is actually like a hip hop loop, also from Cubase, and it was actually like full of kicks and all that, so I just like cut it in between, just like the hi-hat hits, and just like remove the low so I don't have like any bleed from them, and punch up the high so I can have like more hi-hat. Now all the drums together, if you can see, like here, the bottle loop gives kind of like a melody. It's just something like your ears are attracted to. The snare and the kick are really punchy, so it's driving the rhythm forward, and we have the hi-hats just being perfectly in place, just to give like this nuance on like what is quiet, what is like high volume. And this techno loop I'm using just to kind of like fill in the blank. So if you're still here with me, just give a like, subscribe, and ask away anything that you want to know. I read all the comments. Be my guest here, like ask anything. The way I do things, I usually go or to chords or I go to my bass. I'm gonna start with the bass for this one, just because like for sound design I just like found this preset on Retrolog. By the way, this comes with Cubase, so you all have access to this. Like nothing much, just like a simple bass, and of course have a sub, which is like just another preset from Retrolog. And for the sub off, of course, I'm just like removing all the highs. I just want the the super lows there. And I'm also doing like putting into mono with mono to stereo. So we have like the sidechain and a little bit of EQing. I'm just removing the super highs because I don't want it to clash with the melodies. I'm just getting like the mid lows a little bit of there so they can get like more punchy and stand out in the mix. And of course I'm getting like the kick fundamental, which is I'm playing F, just like real low, like really low here, and making dynamic. So when the kick punches, not only the side chain's gonna help, but removing this frequency, like I won't have like the kick clashing with the bass track. So for the sub bass notes, like just long notes, and here the bass groove. So your bass will only sound good if you're playing simple. You're gonna just focus more on rhythm, even though you're playing like 1 to 2 notes. Like here I'm just playing like C sharp here, like D flat, and then F, and then C again. You see, it's like, but I do like a rhythm that drives my track forward and works with my drums. Let's look like the bass with the drums. You see, like I'm playing the rhythm around the drums, even though they have like hits that clash on like on the same beat, like on the downbeat, but it doesn't like one of the other doesn't overpowers like one or the other. Let's talk about that rhythm, which it came from the piano. This is just like a simple piano. I'm just using like a VSL with like processing. Just doing a little bit of sidechain here. Just like removing the lows because I have a bass already. I don't need like the piano to play a bass. Giving a little bit of the mids here and removing a little bit of the highs because I just want this to have my, like, this is the space that I'm gonna put my lead on it. And of course I'm using Native Instruments free reverb, like on, I just open it, just put it like on 8.5 and it's okay for me. Like it's just, this is a massive reverb. It's really good for sound design, and that's why I use it. The way I think about it, like using this reverb, it's putting it on straight on the channel as I got like a recording of a piano already with like a ton of reverb. One amazing thing about Cubase, and because like I'm just a lazy producer, we have something called chord editing. I do write my own chords, but this just helps me to figure out what I'm playing here. So I just select them, and then I have like here D flat major. The way I started this piano roll was just having like full on extended chord. Like I always do like this. I just like play the chords here on my piano. What sounds right for me, I just block it here like in 4 bars or even 8 bars, and then I'm gonna just apply rhythm. Why? Because as I did on the drums, I wanted this track to go forward, like to have like a forward rhythm. How you do that with your chords? Easy. Anticipate your chords. If you see like all the chords except like for the first one, like for the D flat here, they are starting on the last 16th of the previous bar. This creates like a sense of like, you know, urgency that you want to go to the next bar already. Like it's like you had like a mistake that you're rushing, but at the same time you're not rushing. You're just anticipating a little bit, and this not only gives us groove, but also it makes the track go forward because you're just like going on and on with your chord production. Now, if you guys can see, I just copy like the bass line here and put it on the bass track, like on the MIDI there, and just give like a little bit more groove because I needed to know where I was anticipating some chords, where I was not. With a piano, I need to put like some plucks, doing just the same rhythm, nothing fancy. Nothing fancy. This is a patch that I did on Vital here. Just like 2 saws, 1 square, envelope, like really plucky envelope, and controlling like the filter cutoff here. Like opening, it's not opening that much, but anyway. A little bit of chorus, delay, and reverb. And of course, we need to have a pad. Come on, like, we need to have a pad. Same chords, just anticipating. The only thing I'm doing, I'm just not applying rhythm because you don't. Your pad is just to be like an ambient sound. It's just to be there to fill, so it's not to apply rhythm. Now for processing, sidechain and Pro Q, removing the bass. Here just make it dynamic just when the notes come, so we get ducked, and remove a little bit of the high so again we have space for the leads. Now for sound design, here's the interesting thing. Also I'm using Vital. I'm just like applying a lot of like a late attack. Of course I did like a super saw and just butcher it with the cutoff. And for effects, choruses, reverb, and also OTT here. And also I did like a buzz, which I'm calling filter keys, which just I'm using Volcano here just to filter it out. Fred again just use filters to introduce some stuff. So here's what Fred does. You just go opening the filter so you can introduce the track, like the new elements on the track. It doesn't be like all of a sudden in your face, you know, especially with big things like a pad. Now let's move on to the leads. So fret leads, they are focused on melodies. They're like Tale of Us, just like super sound designy, all that. They are there to provoke kind of like an emotion for you. So I just using the lead like in the beginning and on the main drop, which is the last one. And for this, like really simple melody. The key of melody is your motif. If you can just do like stuff that is repetitive but it has like a question and answer, you're good. You're gonna have like a really good melody. Here, take a listen. Simple melody, straight to the point. You have like an A section and then you have like a B section, like questions and answers. Simple. Now, as this lead is just too thin, I just put like some plucked violins. This is from Spitfire BBC on Pizzicato here. By the way, guys, like everything on this track I just do with free plugins. I'm using some fat filter ones, but most of the things here are just for free. You can just go and grab now. And the fat filter things are just like a limiter an EQ. You have that on stock. You can do like a track on stock plugins. Here, lead sound design. I'm doing kind of like fast attack, but like a little bit of sustain, low release, medium decay. Also, I'm using like a second envelope with a pluck shape, so it can be. It can control like the. So we control like how much is gonna open. Same thing as the other synths. Saw, square. Here, like just 11, a little bit of an incident. Like 14, a little bit of detune. 11, voices again, a lot of detune. For effects, now here went crazy. Choruses, so I can have like a wide thing. Delay, so I can have more rhythm. Flinger. Why? Because like it creates kind of like, for me, the way I hear it, it's like you have like this sound and do something like this. You know, it creates kind of like a ghost image of the sound. I don't know, like it's a little bit unpitched, like it's not perfectly pitched. For me, it's what. Remember, guys, trust your ears. Is just what my ears like. So, reverb, removing all the lows, of course, and then I just put another filter here because it was too harsh on the highs, and it was so piercing to my ears that I needed to cut a little bit. And of course, OTT after everything, so I can have like more control on the frequencies, and also, as every compressor does, it brings everything forward. So all together on the lead here. Oh, also I'm just removing all the lows here. Just basic stuff on EQ on the bus. Simple. And now let's go to the interesting part, which is the voice speech. So in Fred's music, he uses a lot of conversations that he has with like his pals, with his parents, with like whoever talks to him, he's recording it. Like WhatsApp audios, like FaceTime chats, everything. He's always recording and he's putting on his songs. This not only brings up some natural vibe, because like the human voice for us is something so natural that it hooks us like immediately, but also it's something that brings in personality. On here I called my friend GIÅGIÅ. She wrote, like, I just asked her, what is music to you? Like, imagine you're in an interview and just write to me, what is music for you? And she went all out with a really big, beautiful quote here.
When it comes to music, there's no chains to get attached to. There's no rules to your body. There's no dogma to your soul. It's just you and your own silence. Just a simple thought that intertwines creativity and it comes alive. It's strange when I say silence describing music, but for me, listening to musical waves is being in peace. And being in peace is when there's no fear to express yourself, when your own voice can be clearly heard, just like magic.
Now, processing. I know you guys are dying to see the process on this thing. First of all, the S. Yes, even though it's a speech, you still have pops and clicks, and you still have like the S sound. Compressor, doing like fast attack, long to medium release, a little bit of makeup, and the threshold here, like in a fine ratio. Magneto is a saturation plugin from Cubase. I'm using 50% here, so I don't destroy her voice. It's not meant to be like heavy metal. This Pro Q here, this EQ curve is meant to treat the voice, like the recording itself, like just thinking about the voice, like removing like some notes, some sibilants that I don't like, and giving air to other things, and removing a little bit of the highs because like was so destroyed everything, like removing the lows because I don't need the lows here. Then I did a maximizer. I'm gonna tell you guys why. This is just kind of like an exciter. I'm going pretty hard on this. Then I went on Volcano because I wanted this to sound like an old cassette recording, like it was from like your grandma's radio. So bandpass, really smooth, just doing like 12 dB of bandpass on smooth setting, really quick and simple. Again, reverb here now 10% just to give a little bit like of more air, and just like if she was talking to me in a place, I want to kind of simulate that. This EQ, it's not meant to affect the voice, it's to affect the recording in general. What do I mean by that? Easy. If you see, I'm cutting the highs, cutting the lows, and putting like a lot of mids here. Why? Because I want that radio sound, and I want to emphasize that. I want it to be like if I sampled like an interview from like 1997 and she was there like talking about music. And now we need to talk about something that Fred does really well, and I love that he does that. Don't need fancy equipment. What I mean by that, you like to record your vocals, especially if you're going through this aesthetic, like which has like a little bit of lo-fi in it, just record it like the way the way that you can. I just use like an SM58. This shit is old as hell, it's crackling, and I put it through a Volkswagen Scarlett, which doesn't have a good preamp. What I'm saying is, it's not like that speech like, hey, we can all do music without equipment. Yeah, we can, but anyway, it's not that kind of speech. It's just like, sometimes you want the recording to be rough. You want like this lo-fi aesthetic. You want things to sound cheap. And that's what I was bringing onto it. Because not only it's my vibe, my style, it just worked. I wanted you to sound like an old radio, so let's record like an old radio, like with cheap shit. Simple as that. Now I'm gonna talk about the arrangement like real quick. I just follow like really freely my reference tracks. Again, I was referencing Farragan, Peggy Gou, DJ Boring, like those people that have like this kind of aesthetic to their sound. So here, starting with some of the drums, then with the keys, then I just like add the keys with the filter. And you can see like the hi-hat on the ends is just like on the upbeats is just entering now. This is driving more forward. I cite the lead here in purpose, because as I was hearing it and I like sent this track out to some of my friends, they were saying like the lead just comes out of nowhere. So I just thought, okay, I'm gonna introduce here and I'm gonna use a filter to do that. Same way I'm doing with the keys. So in here I just have only the synth playing and like an automation on the filter. And then, so the track doesn't stop and get boring, I just put like the hi-hat loop, just a fill in. And then, as a fill, I just use her voice in here, like part of her speech, I just cut it throughout the song.
When it comes to music, there's no chains to get attached to. There's no rules to your body, there's no dogma to your soul.
You see? building tension, building tension, 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 tension. Then I remove the kick and put another phrase for her.
It's strange when I say silence describing music, but for me, listening to musical ways is leaning.
And then we drop. Because like we build it to here, let's drop it. This first drop's not meant to be like this big, like clubby. No, I save it more to build more, even more tension here. So I want the listener to be like here and kind of be disappointed on the first drop. Like, oh, okay, the music's just starting out. Let's relax. Let's dance a little bit. Let's see where this goes. So after I just start removing some drum elements. Remove the kick, of course, and then I just get like the techno loop and then just the hi-hat. And here just with the plucks, not even bass, and then I enter the bass and the bottle loop. Then introduce her speech like in full. And this is just to build like a lot of tension. So we have like this long break, something that people will hear and say, oh wow, music is kind of like that. Like listen to what she has to say.
When it comes to music, there's no chains to get attached to. There's no rules to your body. There's no dogma to your soul. It's just you and your own silence. Just a simple thought that intertwines creativity and it comes alive.
And you hear that was just by mistake, but it was perfect. Because when she finishes her line, the piano enters. So it's not that like abruptly on your ears. And it drives the tension up and also drives the track forward. Then it just enter with the hi-hat loop here.
For me, listening to musical ways is being in peace. And being in peace is when there's no fear to express yourself. When your own voice can be clearly heard.
And then of course we remove everything so we can rise up and just drop it. So again, we remove everything and then just drop it.
Voice can be clearly heard, just like magic.
Then we have like the chorus here with the lead going through the melody, and also at the end I just put her voice again so you remind what the song is about.
It's just you and your own silence. Just a simple thought that intertwines creativity and it comes alive. When it comes to music, there's no chains to get attached to.
And of course, I'm a dramatic person. I needed to just remove everything, put her voice on it, and be just like really this drama, like really dramatic ending. Just like hearing the reverb, like the tails on and all and everything. Like, oh, it's just beautiful, beautiful. So this is my song, called Your Voice. You can pre-save it here in the link and down the description. Please subscribe, like the video, and also comment away any questions that you have. I'm gonna answer to everything. And follow me on social media as well. I'm gonna be posting like a lot of other songs, and I'm gonna be doing just breakdowns like this. And remember, this is kind of like a Fred Against inspired track. It's not meant to be like a clone or a tutorial on how to be Fred again. But I think that I really got really close to his style of songs, but at the same time I got like a unique twist that I can call it like my song. So that's what I want you guys to do, which is like use your reference track to inspire you, not to copy them, because you need to be you. Remember that. So see you guys in the next video. Remember, like, subscribe, and pre-save my song here in the description.